What's going on, Birdland? Let's talk about a couple things. Last night's game was not one of Brandon Hyde's best managerial games of his career, to nicely put that. It was rough to watch. There was a lot of question marks around it. I personally didn't agree with some of the moves made, but you know what? It's baseball. Games like that are going to happen. You don't want them to happen as a fan, right? You want to try and win every game. They're going to happen. Sometimes you push the wrong button and it spirals everything else out of control because of it. I'm not ready to completely just write everything off. Yes, Grayson got hurt again. Yes, he's back on the IL. This team still got a fair shot. At night, there's some nights that they look downright awful. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. They look downright awful. They don't push any of the right buttons. Nothing looks like they're ready to play. And then they have other nights, like those last two games in Cleveland, where everything clicks. I feel like at this point of the season now, when this team, we can confidently say that you don't know what you're going to get. But one thing I want to remind you is this very team right now is better across the board than they were in June. And that very team in June beat a lot of baseball's best teams. Obliterated them at some points. Pitching was on point. The hitting was on point. And now the entire roster structure is better than that team in June. So what I want to kind of just throw out there is, yeah, it sucks some nights. They look pathetic. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. But it only takes 1 month to get hot. That's all it takes. If that team that we know is capable of putting together another June and July, that's a team that could make a fairly deep run in the playoffs. I know the bullpen right now is awful. Starting pitching right now has been fairly awful. I'm going to try and be optimistic and be like, hey, it can't get any worse from here. I know it can. I'm going to be optimistic and say that it can't. I feel like a lot of guys in the pen can only go up from here. Aiken is now back. Aiken was pitching very well prior to getting sent down. Soto right now, right this instant, looks like an absolute bust on Michael Elias's part. The nice thing is they have a couple more weeks to right that ship. The guy throws hard. There's a lot that you can work with that arm. I feel like a lot of his inconsistencies right now are coming in the lower half. That windup is not consistent whatsoever. The arm drags through the zone. It's fixable. He's been in the league a long time, right? He's been very successful in this league. So I'm not going to just say, okay, this guy just sucks, get rid of him. It's fixable. It's just how long it's going to take and if they have that amount of time. Kimbrel, same thing. There's a lot of pieces here that are just going through a tough stretch. I mean, we watched the entire hitting lineup go through a month-long stretch where they just sucked. Now we're kind of seeing the pitching. Why I'm still optimistic about this season is they're sucking now in early August. They've got September to figure it out. And like I said, I mean, last year we watched a hot team all year get to September and then kind of just limp into the playoffs. The offense was dead cold the last 2.5, 3 weeks of the season, and it showed in the playoffs. Where this year, I'm hoping is the opposite. They struggled for a while. They found the necessary adjustments to get better, where you're starting to see several players in this lineup start to get better. I'm hoping the pitching is going to find that same way. They were dominant. I understand injuries has decimated this pitching rotation, but they were dominant at one point. Even that throw-together puzzle bullpen at one point was very good. And I'll be dead honest with you, that bullpen right this second is better than that bullpen was earlier in the year when they were dominant. At one point, that bullpen was a top 3 bullpen in the AL. Top 3. And we all know the pieces that were in it. Yes, they did have Danny and Craig was pitching better. but they still had Cole Irvin in it, and they still had, Mike Baumann in it, and Baker, and some other guys. But you know what? They put it together. And I feel like this team and this coaching staff is good enough to put it back together when it matters. Yes, 1,000% we want to watch them win right this second. I get it. It's just not how baseball works sometimes. You could feel perfect and go out there and suck for 2 weeks. It's just how baseball works. And then other times you just snap out of it. And then you feel like you can never get out again. Same with pitching. You feel like all your mechanics are right. And then all it takes is just to spot one little crazy minor thing inside of a video, go and change it, and boom, you're back to where you were. It's just how baseball is. So I'm optimistic about this team. I'm optimistic about Brandon Hyde. I know there is a ton of hate on Brandon Hyde right now. I don't always agree with some of the moves that he makes. That's fine. I'm a fan. I don't know my players in the dugout, how they're feeling. I don't get to hear mid-game, is somebody sore? Is somebody hurt? Are they just not seeing the ball well? Do they have a headache? We don't know that as fans, but I do have my frustrations at times with Brandon Hyde. Again, that's fine. You are 1,000% entitled to be pissed off with him and want him fired. I still think he's a good manager. I do. The guys play very hard for him, and we've seen it time after time after time over the last several seasons. Backs against the wall, that sweepless streak. Everything looked like it was just down, dirty, dead, and then they came back. This team fights for him. They respond to him. We've seen a little less responsive from Brandon Hyde this year than we have in years past. I still think he's okay. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a World Series winning manager because he just hasn't done it yet. But he did win Manager of the Year. And there are some very good managers in baseball. I'm okay with Brandon Hyde right now. Again, I will voice my frustrations with him when they are due. I still think he is the right guy for the job for these players. These specific players right now. Because we watch it. We see how these guys interact with each other. We can't say that he's lost the clubhouse when these guys are still best friends. They're going to lose games. They're professionals, and they know that. That's why they come out the next day and they play well. If a manager had lost the clubhouse, they wouldn't come back the next day and play well. When things spiraled out of control, they would just keep spiraling. They don't with Brandon Hyde. His bullpen usage, he could use some help. Not even going to sugarcoat it. He could use some help. He could ask. Excuse me. It just is what it is. I firmly believe he's still a good manager, and he can win with this team right now. He hasn't been given the best players, but he has found a way to give those players a chance to win, and they go and they win for him. Do you think, obviously, he would love to upgrade some of the guys that he's had the last 2 years? Sure. Do you think he would rather have certain guys on the team? Sure. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want a team full of superstars? What Brandon Hyde does very well is keep those guys so close-knit. Because I can promise you, it's not all roses in that clubhouse all the time. There's probably been arguments and spats and stuff. There's probably been a slight cancer here and there inside that clubhouse. One, it's never made it out into the public. And two, it may have leaked on the field a little bit this year, but we can kind of see in the second half where it's been a little bit better too. So maybe they identified a problem, got rid of it. I still think Brandon's the guy, right? Hate him when he deserves to be hated. No questions asked. I will never question, I've seen some people questioning intelligence of baseball fans if they led a conversation. You're entitled to your opinion. That's how I feel about it. If you hate Brandon Hyde, so be it. He has given you reasons to hate him this year. I get it. He's also given you reasons to like him. So it is what it is. The O's just need to find that spark, right? They seem to get it here and there, and it's almost like a failed spark plug. It cranks over sometimes, and you get all excited, and then it just dies again. there is a little bit of that missing magic, if we want to call it, that we've had in years past. Last year, if we got down 2, 3, 4 runs, even if it was late in the game, we as fans knew that this team still had it in them to come back. I'm not going to speak for everybody, I don't feel that this year. Last night, I got very excited. We were down 4 runs, bases loaded, no outs, and you got a chance to get Jackson Holliday up. Now, when I tell you that I was absolutely furious that he got pinch hit for, worked out, great. Slater got a walk. I'm happy that we scored a run there, but this team has struggled for the better part of 2 or 3 months with runners in scoring position and no outs. You had potentially one of your hottest hitters in the lineup over the last 5-6 games. You had a chance to get on the other side of that. And Jackson could have struck out. I get it. We wouldn't have scored a run. So many variables come into play here. But I think everybody in the world wanted to see what was going to happen right there. Because you had a 20-year-old kid full of chalk confidence and a pitcher on the ropes. And all it took was one mistake, and that was a tie ball game. Because that's how good Jackson was swinging the bat. We didn't get to see it. I'm sure everyone was just as pissed off as I was. We all wanted to see it. I hope we never have to go through that again. But I don't care if Jackson's 0 for 10 at that point against left-handed pitching. If that's your guy, that guy sells tickets. That guy is going to be the guy in October who's going to take that at bat. He damn sure better take that at bat in August. He damn sure better take that at bat in September. So it kind of ties back to, yes, Hyde deserves some frustrations, deserves some hate. I hope certain things like that get better going forward. It's fixable. Again, everything with this team is fixable. So I'm not that concerned. It's small things, fundamentals. Gunnar is a great player. And I think we all can agree that he's a great shortstop who just sometimes just doesn't set his feet, where he picks his head up on a ground ball. I want to also remind you that this is his first full season playing shortstop. And he's only, 22? It's going to happen, guys. He's a great shortstop. He is not moving back to third base. I've seen that around a little bit. I'm not moving a 22-year-old guy in his first full season to third base when I've watched him make some of the web gems that I've seen him make this year. He's just making mental mistakes. And I will die on this hill. I also think he may have had a sore shoulder, which is what dropped him down to that 3/4. And you can ask anybody who's ever played baseball, when you try to throw 3/4, you're going to miss sometimes. It's not very accurate. He's an over-the-top guy. He was some third. He has some short. Right now, he is running while throwing, and he's throwing sidearm while running, and those two things together spell disaster. But if it's just a sore shoulder and he's getting through it, whatever. If he's healthy by October, I won't say another word about it. But it's just little things. Again, I kind of harp on Hyde a little bit. The pop-ups that they've dropped, the infield, the base running errors, the rundown errors. It all just kind of goes back to fundamentals. Again, fixable. I'm not that concerned about it. I want to be, but I also understand baseball. If you're going to make some mistakes, God damn, make them in August. Learn from it so you don't make it in September and October. That's where I'm at. Learn from what you're mistaking with right now and don't make it later when it really matters. This team is going to go through, with Grayson missing some time here, they're going to go through another little lull, so to say. But if the offense is right there, the best thing that you could have to a pitching staff that is scuffling is a good offense. And I will die on that hill. I will argue anybody about it. Good pitching beats good hitting. I 1,000% agree with that. But good hitting can fix and help bad pitching. You get a guy out there, with a 5-run lead, 4-run lead, it's not as hectic in his mind. Soto out there in a 1-run ball game last night. I understand he wanted to be in some high leverage situations, and that was about as high leverage as it was going to get. But imagine if he was throwing to a 3-0 lead, 4-0 lead. Do you think he was going to make as many mistakes? No, because his body's more relaxed. Same with Kimbrel. Kimbrel struggles this year in a 1-run game. 2- and 3-run games, he hasn't blown a save yet, knock on wood. Scoring runs, good offense will help bad pitching. It gets them on track. It keeps them calmed down. I will die on that hill. So at times where we scream at the offense has to get it going. 1 hit last night against Chris Bassett's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. There's times that this offense looks absolutely phenomenal. They look fantastic. They have a great approach. Their strategy looks great. And then there's other times we're all screaming at the TV, what the hell are you doing? Right? Am I wrong? Because we've all seen it. And those games that we lose, 4-2, 3-1, they're winnable ball games. When your pitching staff holds a team to 2 or 3 runs, you got to find a win to win that game when you're a playoff team. Again, I'll go back to it. I understand it's baseball. It doesn't always happen. But you want to find a way to win those games more times than not. And right now, being 18-41 when you don't score 5 runs, that's bad. Find a way to score runs, because when you score 5, you're 47-6 or 49-6. I'm sorry, you're 49-6. You're the best team in baseball when you score 5 runs. Those are just facts. So if the pitching's going to struggle, and it's going to with Grayson out, the offense has got to pick it up. They've got to be on it every night. Don't go up there just hacking. Go up there with a solid game plan, because we've watched you do it time after time. You go up there and you just look great. But you can't go up there, score 5-6 runs, and then just don't score the rest of the game either. Like, if you're going to go kick a team in, go kick it in. Don't let up. Continue to have good at-bats. Continue to work the count. I don't care if it's the first game of the series. I forget who they played that one night. The pitching staff had like 250 total pitches. Do that every night. Do you remember when Boston was really good? That's what they did. God, they fouled off every freaking pitch you threw with 2 strikes. Everybody was 10, 12 pitches. Get to that every game, and you'll see the pitching staff get better on our end. Flat out. Right now, they know when they make one mistake, the game is over. It is very, very, very hard to pitch like that. I wasn't even a pitcher. I was a catcher, and I can promise you I had the same stress. The first bad pitch that you call and it gets hit out, everyone knows, they're all like, shit, right? The offense has got to pick it up. Got to pick it up. Jackson Holliday right now hitting very well. Mayo will find his stride eventually. I try to tell people he was going to struggle when he gets here, because every rookie does. It's just what it happens, especially with the Orioles. So just take a deep breath, yell at Hyde a little bit, but this team is going to be okay. Just takes a couple weeks to get hot. And that's all it is. That's all Arizona did last year. They weren't a very good team. They just got hot for a couple weeks. Texas, were they a very good team last year? Their payroll says they should have been, but were they? No. They got hot when it mattered. That's all this team has to do. They don't have to go out here and win 105 games. They don't have to win the division by 5 games. Just get in. Get hot when it matters and go win a baseball game. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and rant a little bit. If you even made it this far, I appreciate it. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel. I'll catch you later.